guys, it's me Courtney and welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about the new Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue Foundation. I'm a big fan of the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, so when they came out with this one I was really excited about it. This one is supposed to be a little bit more of a hydrating foundation, whereas the Double Wear was more matte. So I was really curious about like the comparison and all of that great stuff. So yeah, if you guys are curious as well, you want my thoughts, the demo, all of that good stuff, then please continue to watch. This is what the actual foundation looks like. It does come in like that little pump situation. These kind of pumps aren't my favorite, but I'm not like super mad at it or anything like that. In comparison, like the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation does come in a glass pump, which is more my jam. This foundation is 1.18 ounces. It is $45, which is a little bit on the pricier side, but again, it is Estee Lauder, so it's kind of expected of their brand. It does come in 20 shades. I got the shade 5W1 Bronze, which is the same color that I do wear in the Double Wear, and it is fairly close. I'm gonna do some swatches at the end of the video so you guys can see exactly how close they are. The beauty, I feel like, of this shade and what I do love about the bronze shade from Estee Lauder in general is that it is described as a deep warm golden, but it has like that brown in it that I really like. So it doesn't lean like super duper orange or super duper yellow. Like, it has a good amount of actual brown pigment. Now this foundation does have an SPF of 45, so we are going to be checking to see if we get any flashback from that. It does claim to be a 12-hour foundation. It says 12-hour radiant glow, breathable, lightweight, buildable, medium to full coverage, and natural looking. It also has chia seed extract, which is meant to nourish, probiotic technology, which is meant to soothe, and ion charged water, which is meant to hydrate. All that great stuff. With foundations that are like this, like hydrating foundations, they tend to be a little bit on the tackier side. So for me, I like to go in with a brush first to apply it and then kind of tap over it with a sponge to really sink it into the skin. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna do 4 pumps. That's what's been working for me, and as you can see, it is super duper runny, super watery. Alright, so this is one light layer. Again, keep in mind, because my light is like right on my face, it is showing up a little bit different. I am going to zoom out before I get out of here so you guys can see an actual color. But as you can see, it is super duper moisturizing, super shiny. very dewy. It is lightweight to a point. I'm gonna venture off to say that if you are somebody that's not a huge fan of like the makeup feel of things sometimes, this does feel a little makeup-y. And as I said, I did go in with 4 pumps. That has been the best shot that I've had at like a fuller coverage situation, and even still you can still see a few of my moles, so I could go in and sort of spot conceal a little bit if I wanted to. Maybe take the foundation, go in with another pump or two, and I could build it up a little bit. But be mindful that if you do choose to build this foundation up a little bit, it's going to be felt. Right now for me, it is comfortable. I am an avid makeup wearer, so I know sometimes how foundation can feel, but if you are not used to that, if you don't like that feeling, then I would not suggest this foundation. As far as going lighter with the foundation, I have tried that. I don't know if it's a situation where maybe my face is just a little bit too big to do less. For me, 4 pumps has been all over 1 layer good for me, if that makes sense. One thing about this foundation that I will say is it does remind me of the Fenty Beauty foundation in that it does not dry down. So if I sit here for about 5 to 10 minutes, it's still going to be a little bit tacky and definitely transferable. So I am gonna set this. Every time that I've worn it, I have set it. This is not a foundation that I, with dry skin, can go without setting because it's just too tacky for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, finish the rest of my face. I'm gonna do a light dusting, a light powder, and once I do that, I will let you guys see the final result. Alright, So this is the face that we are going to be rocking today. So I did go ahead and set with the Makeup Forever Duo Matte Powder. This is one of my favorite powders. And then as far as actual primer, I know I didn't mention it. I was supposed to go in with the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. However, I forgot. So we are going primerless today, so we are actually going to test that out. The one thing that I really do like about this foundation, it is very skin-like. It's like a light layer. Once it's set, it's not too bad. Now don't get me wrong, it is still slightly transferable, so there's that. It's not as matte as I know this powder can make it. Like, it didn't suck up all of like the luminosity, all of the dew and stuff like that, which I'm actually not mad at. Again, I have dry skin, so something like that for me works perfect. I like how my skin feels. I like how my skin looks. It's very smoothing, but it's not overpowering to where I feel like I have like way too much cake on my face. I do have a slight amount of creasing around the mouth. It's not anything super duper noticeable. I still think my skin looks really good. I still think it's like a very light makeup day for me, at least. So right now it is 7:08. Nope, just kidding, that's a 9. 7:09. So this did say it was a 12-hour foundation. I'm gonna try to wear it for as long as I can. I don't know if we're gonna do a full 12-hour day. We're at least gonna do 8 hours. Yeah, so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I will see you guys at the end of the day. Alright guys, I am back, and this is what my face is looking like. It is now 8:13, so I've actually had this foundation on for 13 hours, which is, I think, the longest that I have done a wear test, possibly. So let's get down to it because I am tired and my lashes are falling off. So I'm going to ignore this stuff around my nose because I did have to blow my nose a few times today, so I'm not really going to take that into account. It does sometimes have the tendency to kind of get in these creases a little bit, like in your nose creases, so just be mindful of that. Maybe try to use a sponge around that area more so than a brush, if that makes sense. I do have a slight amount of creasing, like I mentioned earlier. It is a little bit more prominent than it was before, but it's still not that bad. It's not something that I would really say that like bugs me that much. And as far as the actual feel of it, it still feels like it did when I first put it on, so it didn't get any heavier or anything like that. So I would say that it's lightweight. Again, lightweight meaning if you're used to foundation, it feels like foundation. You know what I mean? It said it was lightweight, it's supposed to be natural, 12-hour wear, buildable, that sort of thing. So I do actually believe that it is all of those things. I think I talked about the buildableness of it a little bit earlier. It is buildable, but as always, be mindful how much you're building it up to. I would not do more than 4 pumps, which for me is this basic like medium, almost could be considered full coverage depending on who you ask kind of thing. I guess it just depends on your skin type, what you're used to, and if you like super duper coverage and if you're used to the feel of more makeup, then I don't think that you'll mind it. But for me, just the 4 pumps gets me an even canvas like I typically enjoy, so that's what I would recommend. The other thing that I did notice, I do have a little bit of pores peeking through right here, but what I will say, this really didn't start happening until later in the day, like about the 8, 9, 10 hour mark. So I still got a pretty decent amount of wear before it started looking crazy. And even still, if I'm being honest, I have had foundations that are matte or satin or anything else that has gotten a lot oilier by the end of the day. So this actually is not that bad in comparison, especially for a dewy foundation. You would think that maybe for a more dewy, more moisturizing kind of situation that by the end of the day you're gonna be super oily. But honestly, this kind of trumps some of my other foundations as far as how oily it gets at the end of the day. This is not that bad. I don't feel like my pores are showing through as much as, like I said, some of my other foundations might. However, I do feel like I have more texture showing through than pores. So like around this area, the makeup's starting to like break apart a little bit, and in turn it's sort of creating more creases, more crevices, and that sort of thing. So it's not so much showing off my pores like crazy as it is sort of breaking down and making me look like I have even more texture, if that makes sense. I did take a picture of it during the day, so I'll make sure I leave that. And also I did a flash test. I feel like usually around this time I do powder. However, it's already 13 hours. Like, do we need to? Maybe for consistency, I'll go ahead and powder. Let me see. So with me powdering it, it does not look that bad from a distance. Up close, in that same area that I was talking about right here with all that texture and breaking down, yeah, no. I do feel like, again, during that 8-hour mark, if you want to powder, I think that's about the time that it would actually help. Right now, because the makeup is breaking down, it's making it kind of worse. So yeah, it's when you get up close in this area that it starts looking a little crazy. So as far as if I recommend this foundation, I actually really like this foundation, and I do recommend it. I recommend it if you have dry skin. I recommend it if you're looking for a medium coverage, again, buildable depending on who you ask, sort of foundation. It doesn't have as much of an extensive shade range like the Double Wear foundation, which, by the way, I did want to compare. This one is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. This one is the Estee Lauder Futurist, and both of them are 5W1 bronze. As you can see, as it does dry down, it does get a little bit more brown in tone. So I mean, they are pretty similar. I do feel like this one's probably a little bit more, has like just like a hair more brown, whereas this one has a little bit more yellow. But again, once this one dries down, it's gonna look pretty similar. All right guys, that about does it for me. Hopefully this video was helpful. If so, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video if the mood suits you, and I will see you guys in the next one.